Hello and welcome to the channel. In this video, I'll be giving a full guide on how you can get to plat. So first off, one of the most important things is to get rid of gold habits. And gold habits are stuff like dodging in or sig spamming. So what I did is I would go into experimental and just try to pay attention to your dodges. So try to switch it up. Don't just dodge in, because when you dodge in, you're going back to your opponent and leaving yourself vulnerable to be attacked more. So what I would do is pay attention to your dodging and try to practice dodging outwards or up, or just switch it up, you know. So that's all I would do. It's also good to play against someone who is more skilled than you, like more elo, because that actually helps. That's a big factor on how you can get better, and just pay attention to how they play, and you can pick up some stuff from them. So I noticed that a lot of people that are stuck in gold or like lower 1500s, they struggle with sig spamming, and I used to struggle with sig spamming too. But the biggest thing you want to do is just, it sounds simple, but just dodge their attack. Like, just get out of their range so where they can't hit you, and then be ready to punish them. What I mean by punish is, like, say they use a side sig and they get delayed. There's like a little wait time after you use a sig, so then you have time to attack because they can't move. So what you would do is just, you can try going for a combo or even using a sig of your own. And a lot of the time, people don't actually like to go for sigs, or they just only sig, they only sig spam. And it's actually important to go for sigs because they do a good amount of damage from just one attack, but you don't want to spam them. So what you want to do is wait for that chance to use your sig. So that's actually a big factor, because a lot of sig spammers don't usually make it to platinum, so it's actually important to use sigs, but don't spam them. This next part I'm going to be talking about is actually very important. You see how I'm using a Tori? That's because I'm very comfortable with using her, and those weapons are just, they're good for me. And I see a lot of people want to play Scythe because they see like Sandstorm using them in tournaments, or because you can hit really cool combos with them. That's not important. You want to use who you feel comfortable with, and that's going to actually be a big factor on trying to hit platinum. You also just want to stick to that one character. Don't switch up your characters constantly. Just stick to one you're comfortable with.
3, 2, 1,
and also you want to make sure you can play both of their weapons. So just go into training and see what you can do with them. Test out like their sigs, test out what combos you can do with the weapons, or even look up guides. Like, if you want to play sword, look up sword guides. If you want to play hammer, look up hammer guides, and strings and true combos. Do that. There's also nothing wrong with looking up like Scythe guides. It's just harder to play, and you're gonna have a tougher time reaching platinum, so I don't actually recommend playing those. Now, gold players are very toxic, so gold is actually the most toxic rank. So what I recommend is, after playing like 2 games, take a small break, just a breather, and then get back on later. Because when you get mad, you start to play worse, and you can lose up to like 100 elo in just a couple of minutes because you're playing 10 times worse, and you're just losing to these toxic golds. And because in gold, they'll do anything for wins, so you just want to take a small break and play about like 2 games and then get back on later. You also want to make sure you never give up, because in gold, there's a lot of times where I got really frustrated because I was playing these golds that like sig spam and then will taunt and even talk trash after the game. Now this next section will be how to verse sig spamming and Lance players in general. So with Lances actually could be really easy to counter. All you have to do is, a lot of Lance players just do random attacks out of nowhere because Lance just flies all over the place. So when they do those attacks, just dodge their attack and you can easily hit them right after, because again, there's also a delay after that. So with Lance players, just make sure you dodge their first attack, and then you can get a lot of damage after. And don't ever be scared to like go towards a lance just because they have a lot of space. Just dodge their attack and then get a lot of damage off of that. Now, sig spamming. Sig spamming, again, I talked about this a little bit earlier. It could be really easy, especially if you know that legend sigs. So say you're going up against a Scarlet and she's spamming down sig. Usually you can tell when someone's about to use a sig, so just recognize that. And if you know what the sig does that they're about to do, that's even more reason that you should be able to counter it. So if you know where that down sig is gonna hit, that's really easy just to dodge or just move out the way of it and then go over there and get some free damage. It's actually that simple. Now I want to recover something that I talked about earlier, because this is actually the most important thing I probably talked about in this video, and that's playing against someone who has more elo than you or has more skill than you, because that really helps you get better. And when you just practice against someone better, you start to become closer and closer to their level until you eventually are their level. So if you play against a high plat and you play against them over and over again, you're gonna eventually become that high plat. But the thing is, it's gonna take a lot of games to become as good as him or even close to him, because you're not just gonna instantly get better. It's gonna take time and you're gonna need to play a lot of games. And so that's actually really important, to find a friend that's like high plat that's willing to do that to help you out. Now I also want to go over a bit of the basics before I end this video. Stuff like ground pounds and recoveries. When people try to get up back onto the map, usually they use recoveries and end up a lot higher above the map. When you notice that they end up high up above the map, do like a neutral sig that will do a lot of damage to them, and it's a really good punish. Or try to like combo them because you notice that they're up there, so just do as much damage as you can before they can get back on stage. Now with ground pounds, what I recommend is when someone's just sitting on the wall and they're just wall hugging, you can do a ground pound, but don't always go for ground pounds, because if you miss it, it usually leaves you in a really bad position and you end up dying. So that was my guide on how to get to plat. If you liked the video, please leave a like, and yeah, I'm just gonna end it there. If you want to finish watching this, you can, and yeah, that's it. See you in the next one.